Welcome, horror fam, to HHN 365, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. My name is Mike, and I'm here with my co-host Duff. How's it going, Duff?
Hey guys, how's it going?
We have Nico, our producer, on the line. How's it going, Nico?
It's going as well as it can.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at HHN365, and feel free to give us a voicemail at any time at 407-906-3405. That is 407-906-3405. On today's show,
I think if you stick around, you might hear a really good one.
Yeah, absolutely. On today's show, we're going to go over a Copa del Quarantine tournament we're doing. We're going to break down the bracket of the knockout stage that's going to lead us home to the final round. Before we get to that, though, Duff, do you have any news or rumors?
There's one little thing that we should talk about, and it's kind of eliminating one of the rumors we've heard, most likely. As we know and talked about many times, 9 of the house locations have filed for permits already. Well, now the 10th has come in, and that was not for Cafe La Bamba, but was for the Shrek Theater. So it has finally filed its permit for interior alteration, and it seems like that might be the death of the Cafe La Bamba rumor, unless we get 11 houses, which seems very, very unlikely at this time.
Yeah, didn't it distinctly say for HHN 32, which is not normal on these permits? You just kind of have to.
I think it said like HHN 2020. But yeah, typically the permits do not state HHN in any way, shape, or form. This one very distinctly said HHN 2020 for some reason.
Yeah. It's interesting.
They ran out of project names. They have so many projects going on. They ran out of names.
Possible.
Yeah, I never really thought the Cafe La Bamba thing was going to come to fruition. So this just kind of puts the nail in that.
Yeah, if you go back to us creating our speculation map, we came out and reiterated that we didn't believe that Cafe La Bamba or an 11th house was happening this year.
Right.
And we'll be honest, there was no inside information. That was just us making a guess. And it seems like that's what's happening. Could that be due to current situations? Possibly. But from people on the inside who talk on different forums and platforms, it sounds like nothing has changed from the original plan. So maybe it was never going to happen.
Right. Well, other than more coronavirus kind of speculation and rumors and kind of anxiety, there's really no other news or rumors. We're not going to talk about that. We talked about that last week a little bit. Let's hop right back into the meat and potatoes of the show, and let's go back a little bit. And Duff, let's go back and recap a little bit of round 1, at least the structure.
Yeah, sure. So the first round we did was basically breaking down every year from HHN 15 to HHN 29 into 2 groups. We tried to basically structure one group as an IP and the other as the originals. Of course, we had to take liberties to make that work. In some years, there just aren't enough houses to fill in 8 spots. So one rule we made is that any group that only had 2 selections, whatever came in second did not qualify for a wild card spot. Basically, what we did is fill in the final 2 16 seeds from wild card winners of 2 groups of 4. They were the 8 highest second placed vote getters.
Gotcha. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. And then how did you come up with this seeding, Duff?
So the seeding went by how high of a vote percentage they got. So we didn't take into any personal consideration what we felt was the stronger house. The only thing we took into consideration is in the first round, you will not see any 2 houses from the same year face off against each other. So there were a couple times we had to flip which seed each other would face. But whoever received the highest vote percentage would get the 1 seed, and then down to 2 through 16 and so on.
Right. With the wild card being slotted into the 16
seeds. Both wild cards got 16 seeds.
Right. All right. Well, let's hop into it and let's reveal this bracket. So let's start with our first 1 and 16 matchup. Let's do a reveal of the 1 seed first. Its description goes as follows. This is from HHN 15 2005. It's blood and gore galore in this industrial effect. Let me start over.
Yeah, go ahead. No, just start from there. That's fine.
Yeah, I like that we do the little description and then kind of reveal the name. It kind of adds a little bit like trying to guess which one it is.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what. And some we don't have to do that for everyone, but
it's a little bit for the audience. There you go.
Yeah,
a little tease.
All right. So where should I start? So let's so I'll just say let's reveal the
first house.
The first
number one. Also structurally, do we each want to take like you'll do this full matchup and then I'll do the next matchup rather than house?
Yeah. I'll do this full matchup. And then I'll kind of have we'll kind of discuss it a little bit, see if you have anything you wanted to say about like you did experience scary you didn't experience body collectors, but you did experience scary tales. I'll let you see if you want to like comment on like the matchup, and then we'll move on to the next one. So we'll have a very short discussion about the matchup. We think body collectors is definitely going to run away with this one, but the 1 seeds are not necessarily run away with it in this structure. It just means it wasn't competing against much.
Yeah.
And a wild card could have been just with a really good house. And so we could see 16 take it.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't think that's going to happen in this case, but we'll see.
Yeah, it would take a really far run, at least. All right. Let's reveal the first matchup, starting with the first number 1 seed. Its description goes as follows. It's blood and gore galore in this industrial factory where processing human body parts is just part of the business, and business appears to be good. That is from 2005 HHN 15. This was held in the Jurassic Park Discovery Center with 68% of the vote. That was body collectors.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The highest vote getter by a decent margin, too.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with the body collectors, and it's all kind of themed around the gentleman. They would take parts and organs from victims and turn them into tools and artwork and then sell those to the Black Guard. And the Black Guard, if you're not familiar with 15, you might be getting familiar with it soon from 30. That is the Terror Queen's Guard.
Ooh.
Yeah. And that will be going up against a wild card matchup from HHN 18. It was held in the Parade Warehouse. That would be Scary Tales Once Upon a Nightmare. It got 50% or 58% of the wild card vote in its matchup.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, Duff, you did experience Scary Tales Once Upon a Nightmare. Do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I do. So honestly, not my favorite Scary Tales that has existed. But it is the house that has created so much that has benefited towards this event. It's had obviously sequel houses. It's appeared in anniversary houses on at least 3 occasions. It's just one of those houses that is deep in HHN lore. And I think that gives it a chance.
I don't know if it has a chance against body collectors. I think body collectors so deep in the lore a little bit more, but up against anything else other than body collectors, I think it could, as a 16 seed, win its first matchup. Not necessarily maybe against body collectors, but who knows?
Yeah, no, if I had to make a prediction, body collectors will walk away with this one. But Scary Tales is at least a decent opponent for it.
How do you feel about body collectors' chance of making a deep run?
I think it could go real deep. I do not predict it to win, but I think it can make a deep run.
Yeah. I think it'll do a deep run. I think it might be hurt by one thing, and we'll get that into the second. But yeah, I think it'll definitely make a deep run. All right. Do you want to cover the next matchup, Duff?
Yeah, and of course we have another 1 versus 16 seed moving to the other side of the bracket. The 1 seed this year, the Cathedral de Cementum Animis, is by day undergoing a building-wide architectural refurbishment. By night, the many stone gargoyles that keep watchful eye over the sanctuary come to life with the mission of protecting the sacred place against intrusion. And this is, of course, the house from HHN 22, housed in Soundstage 20, Gothic, with 66% of the vote. Now, Mike, I got to be completely honest with you here. I think it only got the 1 seed because it was in such a weak year. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with it, but I'll be honest with you. I'm a little bit shocked by it. Going up against another original house that I thought was going to at least put up a little bit of more of a fight, and that was Dead End. It didn't show up at all. It looks like Gothic got basically most of the vote. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, no, it ran away with it. Now, to be fair, it was House of the Year for 2012. Personally, it was my favorite house of 2012. Would you agree with that, or did you prefer Dead End?
I think I preferred Gothic a little bit more than Dead End, but I did like Dead End. I think Gothic is just the one that kind of more visually remember, like you can remember Gothic. Dead End was just kind of a traditional haunted house that had some really good scares in it and some really cool special effects. But I think Gothic kind of stands out in people's minds when they look back at a year that's not very memorable. Gothic kind of definitely stands out, and I think that's kind of why I got it.
Agreed. I think in many years, Gothic doesn't even advance, let alone get the 1st seed. But here it is.
Yeah.
It's the number 1 seed. However, Mike, I got to tell you, I think it might be on upset alert a bit.
I do too.
And that's because it is going against a house from HHN 25. It was housed in Sprung Tent 2. And that was Insidious with 52% of the vote in its original its wild card round, getting it into the 16th seed.
Oh yeah, this might be our first upset. Like we said, the 1 seeds can definitely the way this is. If it's from a really weak year and it could be upset very early, and I think we might have one here. Who knows?
Yeah, we won't get into exactly who it lost to yet, but it put up a huge fight in HHN 25, and I did not think it would. So I was really impressed by how many people enjoyed this house. If you aren't too familiar with it, it basically went through the Insidious series. The first 3 movies were all included in this house. There was a few Easter eggs. The one that most people know is Billy the Doll that appeared in the Dead Silence house back at Carnival of Carnage was within this house.
Yeah, it put up a big fight in the wild card round too, right? Basically just squeak by Leave It to Cleaver.
Yeah, no, it was close, but beating Leave It to Cleaver, impressive, man. You know, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect it to make it to the wild card, and I didn't expect it to win the wild card, but it made it to the 32 team bracket. It has a chance. Yeah, and I think it has about as weak of a 1 seed as you can get.
Yeah, and if you were just following on Twitter, you're probably like, what are some of these? You have to remember that Instagram as well, and the results were not actually shown on Instagram, and Instagram actually had a lot more participation. So a lot of these you're going to be like, well, what is going on? If you're just looking at the Twitter results, that's what's going on.
There were quite a few instances of one house obliterating the other on Twitter, but themselves getting slaughtered on Instagram. And Instagram holds a lot more weight because it got a lot more votes.
Yeah, different demographic of voting too. Some of the ones that are kind of like HHN nerd favorites aren't necessarily doing as well on Instagram. And Instagram is where the voting is happening. So if you want to your house to win, you're going to have to vote both places, and you're going to really have to start retweeting these and getting the Twitter nerd vote out for your house.
Definitely, because some of these are in danger, man. Some really good, like, cult favorite houses are in big danger.
Yeah, just because Instagram is definitely turning up a little bit more than Twitter.
Vote early and vote often.
Yep. Well, you can only vote once, but what he said.
All right. Should
All
we
right.
get
Do
to
you want to take the next matchup? Yeah,
I would,
absolutely.
sure. All right. So this is going to be a number 2 seed versus a number 15 seed. Let's reveal the 2 seed first. Enter a cemetery at night where disrespectful teens have awakened vengeful spirits. Don't get caught dead here after dark. That is from HHN 29, housed in the Parade Warehouse, getting 65% of the original house vote. That was Graveyard Games.
Chef's kiss, baby.
Yep. No, I think this is a strong 2 seed. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna win, but it definitely has us pushing for it just by how much we talk about it, and we'll get into that later. I do think that is affecting some of these votes here. I think,
and it being so recent, I think anything that's more recent has a slight advantage. Just by being on people's minds more. But tell them who Graveyard Games is going against.
All right. Well, let me read the description. Welcome to Castle Dracula on the night of the calling. Flawed Dracula bids you welcome. Be you one of the chosen women who have called on or has been called merely a mortal man. That would be from HHN 19, 2009, housed in Soundstage 23, getting only 33% of its vote. That would be Dracula Legacy in Blood.
Sounds like a blowout to me, Mike.
Yeah. We tried to set this up so there wouldn't be any slaughters, but I think this one's going to be a slaughter.
I mean, when you get the 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, 3 versus 14, it's tough to avoid absolute blowouts. There's not much you can do sometimes, and I think in this case, sorry, Dracula, you're in trouble.
Whoa.
Do you have anything to say about Dracula? Did you like the house? Do you remember the house? Anything?
It was okay.
Yeah.
To be honest,
not your favorite from 2009.
It would not have made it out of the group for me. And I think 2009 was a strange year. Just bringing in those, the original monsters, but
right. Each
the
have
way
their own house. Yeah.
the takes on the stories was very interesting, and I don't know, man. I mean, I love Graveyard Games, and it just doesn't stand a chance, in my opinion.
Yeah. 2009 was a year before my first year, but yeah, it is kind of weird how they each had Universal Monsters each kind of had their own standalone house, and then the takes that you said kind of they tried to make original stories out of them. This one it sounds like is the standout, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be here for long.
I don't even know that it was the standout, to be honest. I mean, it wouldn't be Frankenstein, but maybe Wolfman.
You think Wolfman was a little bit better of a house?
I think so, to be honest.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to take the next 2 versus 15?
Yeah, let's do it. So this number 2 might sound a bit familiar. This is from HHN 18 in 2008. It was housed in Soundstage 20. It had 65% of the vote in its group. That would be Body Collectors, Collections of the Past. Now, this is obviously a sequel to one of our number 1 seeds. Look at Body Collectors, just absolutely killing it right now. So the story of this one was basically the Body Collectors were being transported from Terra Correntis to London. They had been behind a lot of the mass murders and the plague throughout history. There wasn't a Jack the Ripper or Black Death, but only the collectors themselves.
So is this the one that kind of turned them into HHN lore the way they are now?
I think so. This kind of
larger than life.
Because in HHN 15, they were more just there to fully tie in to the Terra Correntis story. This is where they took on a life of their own.
Yeah.
And made them what they are now. And I didn't get to do the one in HHN 15, but I did do this one, and it's my favorite body collector's house to date.
So this one versus the original, which one do you think has a longer life in this tournament?
I think this one would win. Obviously, I can't fully speak to whether it was better, but I think being a bit more recent, and from what I've heard, I think it's a little bit deeper in the HHN fan lore than the original is.
Right. And
now,
who do you think is going to be going against?
It might have a tough time. I think it'll get through, but it might be tough because its opponent comes from HHN 20 in 2010. It was housed in the Parade Warehouse, only taking 36% of the votes. Of course, tough year. But that would be Horror Nights, The Hollowed Past. So basically, this house was set in the Horror Nights prop warehouse, and it took material and actual promotional objects and objects throughout the event's history and tossed them in. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fan service.
Yeah, definitely.
Throughout.
Yeah.
And then if I can, I will just touch on a few things that were featured in it. So houses and scare zones that did Shrieks and Foons, Scary Tales, Once Upon a Nightmare, Body Collectors. Haha. What a coincidence. Collections of the Past. Dead Exposure, SS Frightanic, and Horror Nights Nightmares. That's not all. It also took props from Inferno, Insanity, Universal Museum of Horror, Chamber of Horrors, and Unnatural History. A bunch of Jack stuff, a bunch of props from a bunch of different houses. Run, Rat Lady, Sentinel, Shady Brook signs, Demon Cantina, Eelmouth, Fire Pits. I mean, this list goes on forever, man. Scream House, Little Bo Peep, Headless Horseman. It does not end. If it was featured at Horror Nights, it had an 80% chance of ending up in this house.
Right. Well, it was designed to be like the prop warehouse, right? So like all the props.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So fan service does a lot of good, man. And that could give this a fighting chance. I don't think it wins, but I think it'll do better than many other houses could as a 15 seed.
I don't know, man. I think this one, I think I might predict the upset on this one. I think I think one of the body collectors is going to go through, but I think this one might just beat out Collections of the Past.
Do you think there could be an aspect of people not wanting to pick body collectors twice?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I think,
fair enough.
I think someone, and especially if you how the votes are, if they collect body collectors first, click it, and then 2 or 3 more votes later, there's this one again. They're not going to want to click body collectors a second time.
I understand. So you think it's at a disadvantage because its predecessor ended up as a 1 seed?
Yes, I do.
Man, that sucks for body collectors' Collections of the Past. But hey, if that's how it goes down, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, we'll see. It's gonna.
I pick body collectors in a heartbeat, but we'll see what people do.
Yeah. I mean, I really like the Hallowed Past. I wasn't a HHN nerd at the time. It was my first year, but it was a really cool house.
It was. No, I love the house. It's just not a competition between body collectors' Collections of the Past for me.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our first 3 versus 14 matchup. Let's give the description of this one first and let you try to guess. At a long abandoned Depression era farm, vengeance takes root, and the only harvest that will be reaped is you. That description pretty much stands for itself. That would be coming from HHN 27 in 2017, housed in Sprung Tent 1, getting 63% of the vote. If you could call a house of the favorite to win this competition, I would have to put it on this one. That is Scarecrow the Reaping. It won the House of the Year of its year. It is the Kansas or the Germany, however, whatever sports you want to, the Patriots. This is the one. This is the one to beat. Whatever sport you follow, Scarecrow the Reaping is going to be hard to beat in this competition.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, man, it's. I don't know there's a couple. There's probably like 3 houses that would be up as like the favorite for me, and this is up there for sure. Maybe one of the scariest, if not the scariest house to ever come to the event. Man, in a weak year, this house just absolutely killed it. Absolutely killed it. I'm honestly surprised it didn't take more. I thought it would be a 1 seed just because it was
Me
in
too.
HHN 27.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it would get like 70% of the vote. So I was a little sad to see it only get 63.
On
But
Twitter,
here it
it
is.
did. On Twitter, it did. It
Yeah,
got a lot.
on Twitter it killed. It killed it on Instagram. It's where it died down a bit. I don't even remember. I think it was what house took away from it. I don't even remember. But
I don't know.
there was one on Instagram that really kind of dragged it down a bit, and I was shocked, absolutely shocked. I thought this was a lock for 1 seed, but here we are.
All right. And the next, what it's going to be going up against is going to be, let me give the description. Witness the vilest horror that has ever been spliced together by none other than the director himself. That would be All Night Die-In Take 2 from HHN Sweet 16, housed in Soundstage 23, getting 39% of the group stage vote. Now, I do think that Scarecrow the Reaping is probably going to cream this one. What do you think, Duff?
Yeah, I agree. I think 2 factors for me. One, HHN 16 was a long time ago, and as we've spoken about, basically every single matchup, the newer ones have an advantage, especially on Instagram.
Right.
Instagram definitely houses the younger crowd and the kind of cult favorites, and the icon houses especially don't do as well on Instagram as they do on Twitter.
Right. And
another reason is because Scarecrow's just fucking awesome.
Right. Now, Duff, I do want to say that do you see maybe down the line Scarecrow the Reaping getting upset by the Instagram factor? Something that maybe has a little bit more
yes, I could see it happening. I think it would be late in the competition, though.
Yeah, it's definitely
possible. It would definitely, because as you'll see when we get down a little further, there are some really fucking good houses that got lower seeds just due to being in tougher years.
Yes. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't think Scarecrow the Reaping is just going to run away with this competition. I think it's going to go far.
I think by the time we get to the quarterfinals, it's going to be tough, really tough.
Right. All right. Do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, absolutely. So another 3 versus 14 seed matchup. The first one, she is known as the Weeping Woman. Her legend is one of tragedy and of murder. She drowned her children in the cold, watery depths and now torments all who hear her with icy, mournful cries. Forced to walk the earth for eternity, she seeks others to share her pain and suffering, now and forever. This is from HHN 23 in 2013, housed in Sprung Tent 1. That would be Urban Legends La Llorona. This got 62% of the vote, Mike.
Whoa, that is a shocker.
Would you have expected that?
No, not at all.
Now, I'll be honest, I agree with it winning its group, but 62% is a lot higher than I thought. But man, I loved this house. Yeah. I did.
It was probably the best original house of the year, right?
It was. I agree with it winning its group of originals. I also wish the Urban Legends series would have continued because of this house.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I didn't expect it to end up as a 3 seed, but at the same time, kind of deserved a bit, you know?
Yeah, I this matchup, I don't want to reveal who it is, but this matchup might be favorite first round matchups. This is going to be very interesting.
Yeah. In fact, I think La Llorona might be in trouble, and that's because we're going to HHN 26. 2016, housed in Soundstage 19. That's American Horror Story with 40% of the vote in its group, Mike.
Ooh, this is I don't know, Duff. I think if there's ever a Cinderella story to make a deep run out of a 14 seed, American Horror Story might be it.
I don't know. I think it has a chance at getting past La Llorona. However, I think going against other higher seeds, it will get killed off at some point. Now, this was the first incarnation of American Horror Story to come to the event, and it was based on Murder House, Freak Show, and Hotel. It was definitely the better of the two, in my opinion, and in most people's opinion. I thought it would get a little bit higher of seed than 14. It kind of sucks for it that it got this low, not necessarily for this matchup, but later when it's going to have to go against other higher seeds.
Yeah.
It might see an earlier end than it otherwise would.
This is an IP, though, Duff, that still has a very passionate fan base that's definitely calling for it to come back to the event. It's coming off its probably best year in a long time. And it's going to have an Instagram leg up, I think, on some of the others.
Oh, I definitely agree. Instagram will give it the advantage. Well, just on Instagram. So if you're on Twitter and you prefer La Llorona, vote please.
Yeah.
I don't want to see American Horror Story slaughter La Llorona just because the Instagram crowd says so.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd pick La Llorona. It would be a close matchup for me, but I would pick La Llorona. But I really believe that American Horror Story can pull this upset off. And I hope people don't vote because they like the series a lot and they actually vote on this house.
Right.
But I know that's not how it always works. So
not always how it works, yeah. All right, let's get to the next matchup. That would be a 4 versus 13. Let's get to the 4 seed first. I'm going to do the description. Relive the most terrifying moments of the past 25 years as Jack releases our catalog of creatures in one maze. You'll be attacked by Universal Classic monsters, meat-grinding maniacs, and fiends of Horror Night Pass. That would be from HHN 25, housed in Soundstage 21, getting 62% of the vote. That would be Jack Presents 25 Years of Monsters and Mayhem. Duff, what do you think? A 4 seed for Jack Presents?
I think that's fair. I think it is one of the better anniversary houses we've seen.
Yeah, for sure.
I think if you go back to the Hallowed Pass at HHN 20, it was kind of, as we were saying, it's fan servicey and leaning a little too fan servicey for me. Whereas this actually felt like a Horror Nights house, while paying tribute at the same time. Like I didn't feel like it was just being thrown at me as, look, here's Jack, here's the director, here's the storyteller, take it, eat it, enjoy it. It actually felt like a solid house that had a lot of tie-in from years past.
Right.
So I think a 4 seed is very fair.
They put scenes from a lot of really popular houses. They kind of focused on like the last 5 years before it happened, with a few exceptions. But yeah, you had some Scary Tales. You had some Forsaken, Dead End, Gothic, Havoc Dogs of War, Leave It to Cleaver. You had a lot of really popular houses. Just
Legendary Truth.
Yeah,
we want to talk about HHN 30 a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think this one's gonna be a pretty solid contender in this competition.
Agreed.
But it is up with a pretty interesting one here that during the plague, the infected were quarantined and trapped beneath the city. Now, almost 500 years later, the dead are seeking vengeance. That would be from HHN 20, Catacombs, Black Death Rising, getting 40% of the vote from its group.
Gotta be honest, love Catacombs.
Yeah.
Do I think it really stands a chance? No. Unfortunately, I don't think it does.
I think with a different matchup, it could win a couple here. I think it kind of got screwed from coming out of a really heavy year. It only got 40% of the vote. I think you could have saw Catacombs as an 8 or a 9 seed. Seeing it as 13, it really hurts it. It's going to have to go against some big dogs early.
I think Jack Presents has a huge fan base as well. I think a lot of people love the fan service it pays. Again, not as much as you would see in HHN 20, but still, it's shoving past events down your throat in a sense, and people love that. It's not a bad thing.
Right.
I think anything that's an anniversary house has a upper hand just by featuring so much HHN lore within it. And I think Catacombs, unfortunately, is on the opposite end of that and will face a large defeat.
Yeah, and it's far enough away that a lot of people have not experienced it. It's gonna have a hard time.
Agreed.
All right, Duff, you want to take the next matchup?
Yeah, absolutely. So on our next 4 versus 13 seed, the 4 seed would be found in HHN 24 and 2014, housed in Sprung Tent 2. Mike, it got 60% of the vote in its group still.
Oh, wow.
That would be Halloween.
Yeah.
What?
Okay. Yeah, Halloween.
Yeah. Now, there is some debate of what is the best Halloween house to come to Horror Nights. It's between 2014 and the Hell Comes to Hallenfield in 26. Or Haddonfield, sorry. I tried to say Halloween again. But HHN 24 is the one that has ended up in the 4 seed. And it finished up as Co-House of the Year, and it's based off the original John Carpenter Halloween.
I have to say, Duff, I'm pretty surprised that Halloween, not necessarily surprised it won. I think it's definitely a popular house from that year. But to get a 4 seed, AVP is a very popular house. You have From Dusk Till Dawn, and it's also kind of known as being a fun, silly, hot house, like probably the hottest house we've had in a while.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised that Halloween just ran away with it.
Yeah. I would not have picked it to happen. I probably would have predicted it to win the group, but not with such a large margin. But that gives it a chance to make a bit of a run because people love Halloween, man, the franchise in general. And
the
people
holiday.
really enjoyed this house.
Right. Also, this was definitely, if The Walking Dead, I know Walking Dead people kind of don't like Walking Dead at the event, but it was by far the best Walking Dead house I think we had from the 5 years that we had Walking Dead houses.
I might argue 26 was better, but
I don't know. I think
anyway.
20. Yeah, well, we're not getting into that, but yeah, I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised here on this one.
Yeah, I thought it would go through, but not as a 4 seed. I thought maybe it would end up as a 13 seed, which it's going up against. This would be from HHN 19 in 2009. It was housed in the Parade Warehouse, getting 41% of the vote in its group. That'd be Silver Screams. Now, Silver Screams is, of course, a house for the icon, the Usher, and it's his foray into the Horror Nights lore. So this is going to take you into the Universal Palace Theater, and I'm kind of surprised it ended up as a 13 seed.
Yeah, this is a very popular house with the HHN nerd.
I thought it would go further for sure.
Yeah.
But here it is, and I think probably doesn't get past Halloween.
No,
unfortunately. I'd personally take Silver Screams over Halloween, but that's not going to happen.
I think Halloween is stronger than I suspected it doing. The way that it came out of its group, I think Halloween has the name recognition on both Instagram and Twitter. It's going to be a strong contender in this competition.
I think it's one of those things too, where even if you didn't go to HHN 24 or HHN 19 in this case, you see Halloween, you vote Halloween because you know Halloween.
Right.
Is that a little bit unfortunate? Maybe. But it's how it works.
All right, let's get to the next matchup. That would be a 5 versus 12. Some of these are going to be really fun. Let's get the 5 seed was this visually intense psychological thriller is now the most terrifying haunted experience imaginable. That would be from HHN 27, housed in the Soundstage 22, getting 58% of its group vote. That would be The Shining. Yeah, I think The Shining is a strong contender in this competition. But before we talk about it, I want to get into be first because enter a realm where a flash of a camera reveals horrors beyond comprehension, leaving you in total darkness with a hell's army of the undead. That would be from HHN 18. I know it's one of your favorite houses, Duff, getting 43% of the fan vote. That house in Sprung Tent 2, that would be Dead Exposure. What a hard... Oh, this is a crazy matchup.
So for me, this is very, very easy. Dead Exposure should walk away with this. I don't think it will. But it was an absolutely fantastic, terrifying house. And The Shining, honestly, I think it's well, I guess I'm wrong. I thought it was a bit underrated because a lot of people said it was a disappointing house, but it still ended up as a 5th seed. Is that only because of it being at HHN 27, maybe?
I guess.
It has to be, right?
I don't... Yeah, I mean...
Because all I hear about The Shining is that they were disappointed with how the IP was used. And a lot of people compare it to the Poltergeist. And they're like, what? Look what they did with Poltergeist and look what they did with The Shining.
Right.
And to see it still end up as a 5th seed shocks me. What's even more shocking is Dead Exposure only getting a fucking 12 seed.
Right? I mean, was that a tough year to get out of, Duff?
I mean, it was a decent year overall. But again, for me, Dead Exposure is one of my all-time favorite houses, so of course it's an easy choice, in my opinion. But still, I think that's low, man. I think that because obviously, Body Collectors Collections of the Past was there in that year, right? But that's it. There was a Scary Tales, Once Upon a Nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. Yeah, that's probably why.
I mean, yeah, I guess we have 3 houses from that year coming out of it. So because we got this is a year that they didn't have any IPs, right? It was all originals.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and then we have a wild card out of it. So yeah, it was a pretty stacked year. Looks like.
Maybe we just made the groups too stacked. Maybe one of the groups was too stacked. I don't know. But still, I feel like this is too low for Dead Exposure.
Yeah. Yeah, looking at some of the IPs from 27, yeah, it looks like The Shining definitely. I can see kind of why it's a 5 seed. Saw is kind of known, that the house is known to be kind of trash. That was the second Blumhouse, or is that the first Blumhouse?
That was the first Blumhouse, and then that was volume 2 of American Horror Story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great year for IPs. It wasn't a great year in general.
Ash versus Evil Dead, which you've already said your opinion on that. I think I would have liked it. I'm going to start Ash versus Evil Dead just because I'm running out of things to watch. But I think that house still sounds like it wasn't too great.
No, it wasn't. But yeah, start the series and then watch POVs.
The series is very critically acclaimed. So
it is. I haven't watched it. I'll be honest, I have not. Maybe I should give it a shot.
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah,
you like that type of stuff.
I do.
Do you like the Evil Dead series in general?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, then why not give it a shot?
True, but it was a Showtime show, right?
Stars.
Or Stars.
Stars.
I don't even. Do I have to go to
you can find it.
Oh, yeah, I'll stream. I'll find it.
You'll find it.
I will watch it legally somewhere, of course.
They're giving
Wink,
like 6 months of Stars on demand for like $10 or something. You can find a good deal if you want to just do a free trial for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's
to watch
true.
this. You could easily.
I mean, I could probably finish the series in like 3 days with our current situation.
Yeah. All right. Moving on.
Yeah, I'll pick up the next one. So the other 5 versus 12 matchup. Oh boy. So the description goes: instead of gold, they found death and destruction. What does that say? I think we typed it wrong. Their souls wait for others to join them.
No, their souls wait.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a comma there. Okay.
There's a comma.
No, their souls.
Yes,
Yeah.
I see. Yes, it was a suggestion to add a comma.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is from HHN 26 from 2016. That would be Ghost Town, the Curse of Lightning Gulch.
Hey,
It's
that's
got
my goal.
57% of the vote. And of course, we just did a house dissection on this. And, we all love it, right?
Yeah. Duff, do you think talking about this house with Hunter for 90 minutes may have affected the fan vote a little bit?
It affected me. I voted for it.
I mean, yeah, clearly it did at least got it one vote. I don't know that I would have predicted it to get a 5th seed, but I definitely pick it to advance. I think this is a bit high for Ghost Town. I love Ghost Town. Just predicting what people would have done, I would not have expected this.
Yeah.
But,
well, there was a Ghost Town. Wasn't it like a POV that just recently got released too?
Yes, the
is
Diz.
there?
Out of all, finally, literally like 2 weeks ago, the
What?
Diz. Thanks for tagging us, Hunter. The Diz just dropped the Ghost Town POV, the full thing, fucking weeks after we recorded our episode.
Someone
4 years fucking later. I was so mad. Why have you been holding on to that?
To prepare for.
We had to watch fucking Roblox POVs of it to try to get everything.
Oh, geez.
And the Diz drops one weeks later, fucking 4 years after the event.
Diz drops it. That's just so funny to me.
Why are they holding on to that?
I don't know. Why? Answer my question, Diz. Why? Why are you holding on to that?
No, you don't want him to answer your question.
Which one? Which one of them? I want one of them. I don't even know their names. Answer me.
One of them is named Pete. That's all I know.
Yeah, well, Pete's the main guy, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to talk to him.
Oh. We're calling out the Big Shot podcast now. Okay.
I actually
sorry, I don't think many people who are over 40 years old listen to this podcast, so
Yeah.
I listened to Diz to get into Disney before my college program when I moved down in like 2009, 2010. The Diz is what I listened to get my news. So
if you want to hear Mike talk more about him and Diz, you can check out his interview on Kingdoms and Coasters. That's the Kingdoms and Coasters podcast.
Oh, good plug, Nico. That's very good. I have to say. All right.
Anyways, Ghost Town
on.
does have an opponent, guys. As you may know, it doesn't go through automatically. The 12 seed. I will go over the description. This is no remake, no sequel, no reimagining. These are universal classic monsters of fear who have terrified audiences from the silver screen. They've been walking within silver celluloid to be resurrected. The flash of lightning strike cuts the darkness that surrounds, and the terror's true faces take back what is theirs. This will be from HHN 22 in 2012, housed in the Parade Warehouse, getting 44% of the vote in its group, Universal's House of Horrors.
Ooh.
So Universal House of Horrors is what people think back to, at least as far as Orlando, as the predecessor of this past year's Universal's Monsters House.
Definitely.
And it was in the same building, too.
No, it was in
What, Parade Warehouse?
it was
That's
in
not it?
Graveyard Games building.
Yes.
Oh, that's a Parade Warehouse. Okay.
Yeah, it was in. Yeah,
There is a new and an old Parade Warehouse.
There's my
yeah.
flub of the. There's your flub of the week.
No, I corrected you. If we correct ourselves on the podcast, we done fucked up because I do that all the time.
Nico, you have to get corrected at least once a week. It's how this works.
like. Okay, so where Graveyard Games is the Parade Warehouse, right?
That's the original Parade Warehouse.
The original Parade Warehouse. Oh, sorry. It just.
So that one we refer to as Parade Warehouse.
Right.
Okay. What do you refer to the one that Universal Monsters was in?
New Parade Warehouse.
New Parade Warehouse.
It is.
Yeah.
That's literally. Yeah.
Oh God, my head hurts.
Honestly,
What do you
I think
Duff?
Ghost Town wins pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked that Universal House of Horrors actually makes it out of the stage. I think it's kind of weak. It definitely wasn't one of the better houses of that year. Honestly, I don't think it was the best IP of that year either. Silent Hill, Welcome to Silent Hill, was definitely the better house. I think Universal House of Horrors just has the recognition. And I think it got through on how good Universal Monsters of 29 was, to be honest with you. I remember Silent Hill being really...
I don't think you're wrong there, Mike. I think it kind of got carried by 29's rendition of the monsters. But hey, it made it. Here we are.
We are here. All right, let's move on. So this is going to be probably one of the hardest battles in round one. This is going to be a 6 versus 11.
Do you think so?
I do. I think this is going to be...
All right, go ahead. We'll talk about that after.
All right. Based on the John Landis horror classic, you'll travel to the slaughtered lamb, experience the gruesome wolf attack on the moors, and live the chaos of the Piccadilly Circus. Beware the moon, because tonight it only brings death. This is from HHN 23, housed in Soundstage 22. Came back almost exact same type of house in HHN 25. It was so popular. That is American Werewolf in London, getting 54% of the fan vote of the group stage.
Oh, I thought you were taking a different matchup. I agree. This is going to be a tough one.
Did I skip one? Oh, I
yes,
did.
You did.
I did.
It's okay. It's fine.
It's still a 6 versus 11, so it's okay.
Okay.
I was very confused.
Yeah,
keep rolling.
I actually skipped one. That's okay.
That's all right. I'll pick it up after.
Up against the 11 seed, it's showtime at the local drive-in, and where you don't just catch a movie, the movie catches you. That is from HHN 28 and Sprung 2, getting 46% of the vote. That is Slaughter Cinema.
With an S.
My baby.
Yep. What do you think, Duff? The Slaughter Cinema only coming out as 11 seed?
I mean, I'm not too surprised. I think it's more of a cult favorite. And I believe that kind of falls in line with what we've been saying. I think on Instagram, it did not do nearly as well.
Oh, really? The Instagram vote brought it down a lot?
Yeah, I believe so. I think Twitter it did really well, on Instagram, not so much.
Gotcha.
So I'm just happy it made it through. I love this house. I really love this house. I also really love American Werewolf in London. And this is really tough.
Yeah, this is going to be a hard one.
I'll tell you now, I think my vote goes to Slaughter Cinema. As you know, I kind of lean towards originals in basically every sense. And I just really loved Slaughter Cinema, man. It was so campy, and it loved it. Yeah, I'm voting for Slaughter Cinema, but I think it gets through. I'll say it. I think it gets through. That's my prediction.
All right, and the next one, Duff, you want to head back? Sorry, I totally skipped one, so go back up.
Yes, the one I thought you were talking about that I think will be an absolute blowout, in fact, starts with a 6 seed. Restless spirits have overrun the infamous house atop a cemetery and will lure you into a place between life and death. Don't get lost in the light. It's Poltergeist. It was
Hey, they're
from
here.
HHN 28, House and Soundstage 25, getting 55% of the vote in its group. As we mentioned earlier, it was a very popular IP house. 6 seed, I think, kind of fits it well for where it should be. No qualms there. Going against 11 seed, Beyond Mall Day Can Pass. Doors open, the one wishes they were not. This is where evil hides. HHN 15, of course, part of the Terra Cruentus tie-in. House and Soundstage 18. I was shocked to see this one get through.
Me too. I think it's kind of body collectors from that year and then everything else. And I think Where Evil Hides, this kind of shook out. It is the storyteller year. I think storyteller is on the minds of people this year, just because of, there's rumors that she might make an appearance in HHN 30, so that may have played a role. But yeah,
true. Well, I thought Cold Blind Terror would have beat this. Did not happen, clearly.
Yeah.
I do think the premise behind this house is really cool. It's kind of like going into your childhood fears. It shows the boogeyman, the monster under the bed. You go up to the attic in just a typical like suburban house. Really cool concept, but it's not like the classic from 15 by any means.
And doesn't really fit into Terra Cruentus, to be honest. I think it's one of those.
No, it doesn't.
They had to throw in here last minute to be like, oh, we need a storyteller house. And when they threw it in, when they decided to do the storyteller instead of the Terror Queen.
Yeah, definitely. Which kind of a downfall for me. So
yeah,
but it made it.
All right, let's move on to the 7-10 matchups. Do you want to take the first?
Sure, I'll take the first one. So starting with the 7 seed. Within the decaying walls of this house awaits something evil. The unfortunate souls that enter here will become the damned that never escape. This was the co-house of the year, and HHN 24, House and Sprung Tent 1, getting 54% of the votes in its group. That'd be Dollhouse of the Damned, my friends.
Nice.
Now, Dollhouse of the Damned was my house of the year, personally.
Yeah.
Definitely should have won its group, honestly, by more, I'll say. Yeah, I think 7 is fair. I thought it might have been a little bit higher. People loved the house. 7's fair. 7's fair.
7's fair, yeah.
And I'll be honest, I don't think it has too strong of a matchup, as the 10 seed here is going back to HHN 17, House and Soundstage 23, getting 48% of the vote in its group, was A Nightmare on Elm Street Dreamwalkers. Now, this was very kind of typical slasher house. Go in, see a bunch of Freddy Kruegers, and you're in the Nightmare on Elm Street house, the 1428 Elm Street.
Right. Do you think it has any chance to beat Dollhouse of the Damned? What do you think?
No, I don't.
I don't know. I think name recognition alone probably makes
I think name recognition helps. However, I think if you look back, how many people percentage-wise that follow us and will participate went to HHN 17 versus how many went to HHN 24?
True.
I think there's a large gap there.
Yeah.
And people are going to pick the event they went to.
Yeah.
Especially a house that is known to be like the house of that year among almost everyone.
True. That said, I do think the Instagram crowd is probably like 26, 27 and higher. There is a chance that they didn't go to either of these and they go with the name recognition one.
That's fair. I could see that happening. I don't think it's enough to carry it.
Yeah. We'll see.
At least to a victory.
Yeah. All right. On to the next matchup. This is going to be another 7 and 10. The Nightingales are creatures that have existed since the beginning of time, being immemorial, feeding on the weak, ill, and dying in wars and natural disasters. Patrolling World War I area trenchers, you discover that you are more than just at war. You are being hunted. that is housed in Soundstage 23 from HHN 21. My favorite year, that would be Nightingale's Blood Prey. Getting 54% of the fan vote done.
How is this only a 7 seed? Oh,
I mean, it was up
being
against
HHN
a lot.
21.
Being 21, think of all of the other really good ones that had to go.
Yeah, it's just a tough year. It's a tough year.
Definitely. And definitely. Up against the 10 seed, visions of sugar plums turn into horrific holiday nightmares when a transport bus overturns in a quiet neighborhood, unleashing the violent inmates of Shady Brook Hospital. From HHN 17, that is Psychoscarapy, Home for the Holidays, getting 48% of its group vote.
That's a weird concept.
Oh, did you not actually end up listening to our holiday special, Nico?
I did a little bit, but I guess I forgot about this one.
Yeah,
this existed. Wow.
Yeah, this existed. We did a history segment on our holiday special about it. Yeah, absolutely. This existed. It's going up against Nightingale's Blood Prey. It's going to be an interesting matchup. I honestly don't think it really holds this a chance. I think Nightingale's Blood Prey is probably going to run away with it. In fact, I think Nightingale's Blood Prey has a chance of making a deep run. It was a really good house, a very scary house, a house that people really like to think back on. And then it also has the help with Nightingale's Blood Pit being last year. So it's people recognize the name, even if they didn't go and experience this terrifying house.
At first, I thought, just looking at it off the bat, maybe could be close. But when you take into fact that Nightingale's is definitely the better house.
Yeah.
For most HHN hardcores and general public. But then also, as you said, the name recognition is going to get it, as we've been calling, the Instagram vote, the younger crowd, the ones who haven't been going as long. They're going to pick Nightingales because of name recognition. And I think this could turn very ugly for Psychoscarapy.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so you ready to move on to the final 2 rounds?
Yeah, final 2, the 8 and 9s, they're close matchups.
Yeah, man, these could be tough. So the first one, and you guys have probably been waiting for this house to pop up. Where's it been? I don't know why it's way down here, but here we are. This house is from HHN 29 last year, housed in Parade Warehouse 2, or the new Parade Warehouse, if you would, Nico.
Oh, that'd
be Universal Monsters, getting 53% of the vote.
Yay.
Mm-hmm. Man, 53% of the vote.
Yeah.
Crazy. You think it would be a lot higher, right?
Right? I mean, there was a lot of good IPs, I think, but I mean, it was by far the best one.
Yeah, no. I think this should be a top 1, 2, maybe 3 seed.
That being said, I mean, there's a real popular crowd for clowns. There's the people, House of the Thousand Corpses. There's the Ghostbusters people. I think the vote got split a little bit, leaving Universal Monsters at the 8 seed. And I get it.
And it was House of a Thousand Corpses that gave it the largest run for its money.
And this definitely deserves it over House of a Thousand Corpses.
Ooh, Nico, pipe in. I like it.
Yeah.
This was your number 1?
This is my number 1. This is my favorite Halloween Horror Nights house of all time. Because I've only been to 1.
1 year.
And that is going against 9 seed. From HHN 25, housed in Soundstage 24 with 49% of the vote. That'd be Freddy vs. Jason.
Boo.
Oh.
You already got a fan in the race?
Wow.
Did it take the whole thing?
I mean, I just don't like the Freddy movies and the Jason movies, so...
Okay.
All right, Nico has spoken. We can move on. Everyone vote for Universal Monsters.
Monsters is going to win this one.
Listen, Universal Monsters is going to win. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Do we need to talk about this any further? Freddy vs. Jason was a solid house. A lot of people liked it. Universal Monsters is like all-time classic for many, many fans. And it's going to get the Instagram vote, and it's going to absolutely slaughter in this round.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're thinking Universal is going to win here. The one vote seat. Do you think it takes on Body Collectors or Gothic and wins?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too. I think Universal Monsters is probably
I think Universal Monsters has a chance to win the whole damn thing as an 8 seed.
I think so as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think it has a strong contender.
Looking at like all, I mean, that's technically IP that y'all have like mentioned and stuff. I mean, that's definitely one of its strongest that's on here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It just, you know, it had a bad loss late in the year, so it got ranked lower.
Yeah.
So now we're
yeah.
I think last year has a huge advantage. As we've been talking about, it's more recent.
Right.
It's more on people's minds. And there was an IP and an original from last year who are considered like classics for Horror Nights houses.
Right.
And they're going to have huge advantages because of that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, let's announce the last matchup, and then we can go on and pick kind of our 2 or 3 favorites of what we might see the final 4 might be looking like. We haven't created the bracket yet, but we can just kind of, pick 4 that we could see potentially making the final 4.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So this is the last 8 and 9 matchup. So the 8 seed, welcome to Home Sweet Hell, a house so demented that even it's even incomplete walls bleed. That would be People Under the Stairs under construction getting 51% of the vote. Now, this one has an asterisk by it because Duff, this was one of the ones that was only 2, correct?
Correct.
So getting 51% of the vote, putting it at an 8 seed. It was only against 1, so the others didn't really have to split votes. Basically, it only squeaked by to get out of here. Going up against, inspired by the new thriller, Paranoia spreads like an epidemic among a group of researchers in an isolated Antarctic outpost as they are infected one by one by a horrifying creature from another planet. That would be from HHN 21, another really, really good house. That would be The Thing, getting 50% of the vote.
Ooh, I mean, I think The Thing wins.
Yeah, definitely. I think The Thing might go a little bit far. Duff, do you remember The Thing? I remember a very good house.
Yeah. So we talked about this a bit before. You remember the house much more than I do. This is kind of one of those houses that I just cannot recollect very well.
It was a stacked year, so I don't fault you. But I remember it, the way I was describing it off mic is I would say it's a little bit, had like a Stranger Things vibe and Yeti mixed. It was set in the Antarctic, so it was very cold. There was another cold one that year, Winter's Night. Do you remember that, Duff? There was like 2 cold
I do remember Winter's Night. I
so
consider it the predecessor to Graveyard Games in like aesthetic and vibes.
Yeah. But Thing was also kind of a cold one. But they were like on a research base, and there was like these kind of creaturey, a lot of special effects makeups, really cool kind of puppets and props. This was a really cool house.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely remember liking it, and I remember pieces. I did do People Under the Stairs. Obviously, don't have nearly as much recollection, which is saying a lot. That I don't remember The Thing a lot. I really don't remember People Under the Stairs. And I kind of hate it because it has the word "under" in it twice, and that just pisses me off.
Right?
People Under the Stairs, under construction. I don't know. I hate that.
Yeah, that's a little clunky.
Go fuck yourself, People Under the Stairs.
Is this our only bad house on this list? I think honestly,
I don't know. I'd say it's a bad house.
It's probably the worst name.
It should not have made it through under any other circumstance than having only one opponent in its group.
Right. All right. Well, those are all the matchups. We'll be interested to see by the time we podcast, and we'll probably have the right just about.
Yeah, I think we should probably talk about not necessarily what we think the Final Four would be, but what are our top 4 candidates to win the whole thing?
Okay. Yeah. Nico, you go first.
Top 4 candidates to win the whole thing. The Final Four. What I'm predicting.
Yeah.
Universal Monsters, Universal Monsters, Universal Monsters, Universal Monsters.
Universal Monsters and Graveyard Games are definitely the 2 I would say there. I think that's my gold. That house, Ghost Town.
Okay.
I think that has great potential, especially just because of y'all talking about it recently and then it just coming straight through. And then, for the other IP, I don't know. For IP, for the third IP, I would pick. I mean, for the second IP.
It's not going to be like that. It's just at this point, there's not IP. It's just however.
I thought that's just how y'all.
Like just your favorite to possibly get through.
Okay, probably Universal Monsters, Graveyard Games, Ghost Town, and I really don't know. I don't really have a third that I can really pick.
Fair enough.
What the heck? Probably Body Collectors. No, I think it's going to get hit because it's kind of on there twice. I don't know. I could see like Halloween sneaking its way up there.
Okay.
You may not be wrong about that one.
Or Nine Gales. Actually, no, I take that back. Probably Nine Gales. Blood Prey.
Good pick. I guess I'll go next.
Yeah, sure.
And I think I focus a lot on recent houses are going to have a huge advantage. Go back to last year. I think just like Nico said, Graveyard Games and Universal Monsters are 2 of my favorites. I think Scarecrow, one of my favorites. And I think the final favorite, honestly, Jack Presents, 25 years of Monsters and Mayhem.
Yeah, you might not be wrong about that.
I think they're all recent. And then Jack, it's a fucking Jack house and an anniversary house that's also pretty recent. And yeah, man, I think it really has a shot. I wouldn't put it anywhere near the Final Four, personally, but I think it could do it.
Right. I'd like to, again, reiterate that we have not we've created the matchups, but we haven't created the bracket. So we don't know exactly where these are going to fall. So there's no chance that all of these could meet up in the Final Four. They could be knock each other out potentially to reach the Final Four. Yeah,
that would happen.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't have the whole thing set up to where we can kind of pick a Final Four the way you would normally hear people do that. But so mine, I would say my top 4 favorites of potentially getting far is I'm going to have to say, I think an elephant in the room. I think Scarecrow. I think that one's going to go far. I'm going to throw one out and say that American Horror Story. I think could really make a far run. I think the Instagram. I think it has name recognition. I think people still really, really love that IP. It's an IP that's not really played itself out necessarily. I think there's still a couple of good years left in it. I think it could go far. I'm going to say Nightingale's Blood Prey, and I'm going to say Halloween. No, wow. I'm going to take back Halloween and put Poltergeist. I think Poltergeist is probably.
So you don't think Graveyard Games or Universal Monsters would be in your top 4?
No, I don't. I think
wow.
I don't know if people are going to vote for HHN. I think people are going to try to go back at least a couple years further than that when they're trying to look at, oh no, this is the best house.
Okay, fair.
I also think Slaughter Cinema has a very chance of going very, very far.
I think it could get deep. I just don't think it really has a chance to win.
Yeah. All right. Well, that does it for this episode. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you in the streets.
You are receiving a call from Federal Medical Center, Fort Worth, Texas. This call is being monitored under U.S. Statute 2478.
Yeah, this here's Joe Exotic, straight from the Fort Worth Medical Center. I'm dropping in because I can only listen to 2 podcasts here at the prison, and one of those is HHN 365. The other one is Pod Save America, but I don't trust those folks very much. I'm calling to give you some exclusive information that I got for you here. Yes, I am the secret IP for the upcoming Netflix house that's coming to HHN 30 this year. You see, it's gonna be themed after me, the Tiger King. It's gonna contain all your favorites. Carol Baskin hanging from a noose is gonna be in there. You got the Joe. Everyone is gonna be in there. It's gonna be a great time. So, please, it's the best way for me to get out of prison after President Trump gives me my good old pardon. Now, please, come and get me out as soon as possible, and I can't wait to see you in September.